Good evening, everyone. Great to be back after a week off as we get into the finals. Welcome to Tassie Rules, Tasmania's footy show. You are with Rick Fontaine once again. We've got a big show coming up tonight. Shortly, our club in focus is going to be the Perth Football Club. They have had a brilliant home and away season in NTFA Division 2. They have their best opportunity to win their first premiership in the seniors in 35 years. Yep, 1990 was the last year that they won a senior premiership. We're going to catch up with one of their stars. He's a former TSL premiership player as well. He'll be joining us very shortly. We're also going to take a look at all the finals actions later in the show that are coming up as well this weekend from right across Tasmania. But we're going to start off around grand finals, and in particular, last week we had one, and that was the Oatlands District Football Association grand final. And we've got to say a big congratulations to the Bothwell Rabbits, who were crowned ODFA premiers at Oatlands last Saturday in front of another big ground. They've made it back-to-back premierships, and you can see the scores there. The Rabbits defeating Campania by 25 points, and scores were level at three-quarter time. Big final quarter, 5 goals, 2 to 1 goal, 1. Nathan Eisel booting 3 for the Rabbits. David Cragg also booted 3 for Campania. These two clubs, they built a great rivalry, and Campania, of course, had beaten them, Bothwell, a fortnight earlier in the second semi-final. You can see the celebrations there with the Premiership Shield, and also congratulations to Tyler Ford. He was the judge best on ground in the grand final. So big day for the Bothwell Football Club. Speaking of grand finals, this Saturday we've got some grand final action coming up in the Old Scholars Football Association at beautiful North Hobart Oval. The reserves at 11:30. OHA are taking on Dosa. Dosa will certainly start favourites in that one. They went through the season undefeated. And in the seniors at 2 o'clock, Dosa take on OHA. Dosa losing only once, and that was to OHA. They've had some great battles, though, which included a 1-point victory to Dosa early in the season. So a big day there, as it will be down the northwest coast. We'll turn our attention now to the NWFA Grand Final coming up at Ulverston. And there is the schedule for you on your screens now. If you'd like to head down there, it should be a great day. The Reserves Grand Final will see Wesley Vale take on East Ulverston at 12. And then at 2 p.m, the Senior Grand Final, East Ulverston take on Mott and Preston, who finished third on the table. So they knocked out Wesley Vale in the prelim last week. Head-to-head, East Ulverston won both matches this season. The great thing, Mike Brady's going to be there with his Up There Kazali, and he'll be performing live at the ground as well. So that is absolutely fantastic. It should be a great day down there. They also held their NWFA Best and Fairest, and congratulations to Clay Simmons from the 4th Football Club. There he is, pictured with his medallion, his trophy. He took out the Les Hicks Medal for the Senior Best and Fairest on 24 votes. And a grand final, it's always one of my favourites to look forward to. The King Island Football Association Grand Final is tomorrow at the Curry Oval. Now, Curry are going to take on Grassy in the Senior Grand Final. That is at 2:30 p.m. Curry will start favourite, but I'm going to jump on their Facebook page. There's a bit of vision from the preliminary final last week. Grassy won their way through to the grand final. It was an incredible finish with a goal after the siren, right on the siren, in fact, sealing their passage over North by 4 points to make the grand final. So that should be great. The juniors, 12 o'clock, Grassy Hawks are taking on the North Bulldogs, and there'll be Auskick as well at halftime. So it's always a great day there on King Island. All right, brings you up to speed. We are going to take a quick break with thanks to DLM Machinery. Coming up next, it is our Club in Focus.
For 30 years, DLM Machinery has kept Tasmania's construction industry moving. As the sole Tasmanian distributors of Cabelco, ASV Positrax and Merlot telehandlers, we offer trusted sales, parts and service with locations in Launceston and Hobart. From excavators to telehandlers, routine maintenance to field repairs, our skilled team has you covered wherever the job takes you. DLM Machinery. Local, reliable, ready when you need us. Get in touch today.
Welcome back to Tassie Rules. Great to have your company. Well, we're well and truly into finals time, so we thought Thanks to Harrison Agents, our club in focus this week, we delve into a club that harbours great ambitions to go higher in the NTFA, and they're certainly sounding the bell for that. They've had a tremendous season. One of the stars of the Perth Football Club, former TSL Premiership player from a couple of years ago, Jake Williams, and joins us in the studio ahead of a big day coming up tomorrow. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me in.
We'll just go back a couple of years. TSL Premiership player with the Kingborough Tigers, their first ever Premiership not that long ago. We're looking at a photo there of the team. Tell us about that day and what a big day that was in your career.
Yeah, definitely probably the best memory I have in football and one of the best days of my life. I think I chose to go to Kingborough, had a conversation with Trent about success at a high level, and that was something I hadn't had in my footy before. And for him to tell me that early on and give me that, and build so many friendships for that club that I'll never lose, I couldn't be more grateful for.
Yeah.
So,
and Trent obviously is leaving the club this season as well. So talk about his influence on the club, but also on you personally in that journey, because he's been a big part of it.
Yeah, it's hard for me to, I guess, speak about his total influence on the club, as I was only there 1 year. But for me as a player, he was so good because he trusted you as a player, wanted to help you out, but also was there as a friend and really helped you as a person, not just a footballer. And that really established a strong relationship between player and coach. So I think that's what he had with the whole group, and that's how we ended with success. So.
You moved up north, joining the Bracknell Footy Club this year. You're one of the stars of Perth in the Division 2 of the NTFA. What took you to and brought you to Perth?
I've had a long relationship with Danny Bennett, quite a strong one. And I went to sign for Perth years ago, but they didn't get up through COVID. And that's how I've ended up in Hobart. But we've always wanted to get back together to play footy together. And I thought this year, with some of my friends going there and the way they were tracking, it was the right year for me to get in there. And I'm thankful for him to get the ball rolling again.
It has been a terrific season. We're going to bring up the ladders now. Firstly, the senior ladder. Undefeated, 3 games clear of the East Coast Swans, a dominant season. The reserves just a couple of losses. As you can see, it's been a great year on the ladder, but it's finals now. It all starts this weekend. But talk us through some of the success and what you've noticed on the park and particularly with your coaching staff, what they've brought to this club, because you're in uncharted territory to a little bit of a degree at the moment.
Yeah, I think like the coaches have instilled a game plan that works for this playing group. We're quite young, we're quite fit, and they've adapted to that. We've had 36 players play seniors this year, 10 have debuted.
Wow.
So I think both sides being on top of the ladder, that says a lot about that. And the whole club's trying to play one way, and it's a way we believe in. So I think that's why you're seeing such strong on-field results.
You've earned a home final, which is fantastic. So there is no AFL football this weekend. So we want to see a very big crowd come out to Perth tomorrow, don't we? You'll be hoping to get plenty of support from the supporters and the township?
Absolutely. I think we've already seen as a playing group the community behind us out at Perth, and hopefully that we get more tomorrow. But the amount of people we've been having at regular games is plenty enough as well.
We'll show the schedule because you're in action in both the reserves and the seniors. So 11:25, you take on Evandale. I don't know how much history you've been given, but I know over the years and decades, the rivalry between Perth and Evandale has been pretty strong.
Yep.
So that'll be a pretty physical contest. And then you take on the East Coast Swans, a very good side, the East Coast Swans. That's at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon, as you can see there on your screens now at the Perth Sports Ground. What are you expecting from the Swans, and particularly, a bit of rain around today, and it might be a little bit slippery, but what are you expecting from them tomorrow?
I think what impressed me last time about them was their contest in tight and their ability to get intercept marks and move the ball quickly off half back. They're definitely a really good side, but it's something we've definitely planned for. They were in front of us at halftime last time. We got over the top. And we're expecting a good contest again. So,
probably in a good position to answer this because there's a lot of people that have obviously been in with the club for a long period of time. But this being your first year, and obviously you mentioned your friendship with Danny. But what do you love about the Perth Footy Club? What's stuck out for you?
I definitely love the people there, like the coaches, our trainers, our doctors, all the players. I think if you come to Perth Footy Club, you would see a friendship between a whole playing group. We're strong friends off the field, not just on the field. It doesn't feel like a chore for us at the footy club. The coaches are our friends as well. We maintain that professionalism on the field, which is why we're having great success. And I think anyone would see that if they come out to Perth Footy Club. So.
Well, hopefully plenty will come out tomorrow and witness it. There have been a lot of people there for a long time. You touched on the volunteers and obviously the staff out there. It's been a long drought for this football club. 1990 was the last senior premiership, 35 years ago, and 1996, so 29 years ago, for the reserves. What is the feeling? Is there a sense of, is there nervousness? Is there excitement? And has that been talked about in the build-up to this week, just how important a few weeks this is?
Yeah, it's definitely been spoke about multiple times, not from just our coaches and ourselves, but people in the community. Like I mentioned before, we are nervous, as I'm sure all the teams playing finals are nervous, but we have such confidence in ourselves and in our game plan that we know once that first 5 minutes the game's played, we're just going to play Perth football and that will hold us up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's going to be a great day. We'll just run through quickly the schedule that's happening on Sunday. We'll bring that up now for everyone to see. Division 2 finals. It's out at Morven Park at Evandale. So at 11:25, Campbelltown, they've had a terrific year. They're in action in the reserves and seniors, obviously back in the NTFA this season. They take on the East Coast Swans at 11:25 in the Resies, and then the seniors are up against, it's Evandale, Lockie Dornoff coaching a course against Campbelltown at 1:30 p.m. So that's going to be a fantastic day out there on Sunday. Terrific to see the NTFA bringing finals to the community grounds as well, where the clubs, they're being rewarded for their success rather than just going to the big grounds. That's pretty good, isn't it?
I think it's good. I think if you finish on top of the ladder, you deserve to be in your territory.
Yep.
So,
Want to get a quick comment on Ben Elmer.
Yes.
He brought up his 100th goal last week in the final round against the Meander Valley Suns. Tell us about his influence, because obviously the ball delivery, you got to take credit, and your teammates probably looked for him a little bit last week as well, did you? But it must have been a great relief to see him get there before the end of the home and away season. But tell us about his talent.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he would be the first to admit that obviously he's had some good service this year and et cetera, et cetera. But one thing I will say about Ben is if you come to trainings on Thursday night, the boys are in the bar having tea and he's out having set shots at goal for like an hour. Like you'll walk outside and he's outside. So as much as we've been winning games and he's been kicking lots of goals, he's worked extremely hard for it. And, you know, you can only get so far in talent. So he's worked extremely hard for it and he deserves every bit of it.
My word. And the hard work paid off. And it's interesting you say that, Jake, because you see a lot of these great full forwards of the past, like Jason Dunstall would have 100 set shots after training, and that just doesn't seem to happen anymore. And you hear these footballers talking about what they used to do, and now it's a get inside and away you go and you jump on your social media, etc. But for him to be doing that, that's particularly NTFA Division 2 just shows you how important it is to go through processes to make sure it helps you on game day.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that comes back to our whole group. Like that's a good example, but our whole group this year is really driven, doing the little things well, the extras and training extremely hard and well. And that's really shown on field this year. Ben being an example by stat, but our game style says that we're well drilled as well as a whole team. Yeah,
you got a great coaching team as well, a great side. And look, Jake, it's been great to catch up with you. Thanks for coming in. I know you're having a really enjoyable year out there at Perth, and good luck tomorrow. It's a big day for the football club as well as the team and the community. And let's see if you can get the win tomorrow and progress through to the grand final. Wish you well.
Beautiful. Thanks, Rick.
That's Jake Williams joining us from the Perth Footy Club for our Club in Focus with thanks to Harrison Agents. Don't go too far. We're going to come back in a moment with all of the information on footy finals around Tasmania.
HST Tree Specialists. We are the industry leaders in vegetation management in Tasmania. Our services include tree solutions, hazardous vegetation removal, and project consultations. We are committed to eliminating vegetation-based risk in Tasmania while being sensitive to environmental impact, with a strong focus on health and safety practices. And from large-scale government and commercial projects, small private arboriculture jobs, and equipment hire, MyTas recommends HST.
Welcome back. Great to catch up with Jake Williams from the Perth Footy Club. They're in action in finals, of course, the NTFA Division 2, but there are plenty of other finals this weekend as well, including the NTFA Division 1. So let's bring you up to speed. There are 4 big matches happening at the Rochalee Football Ground tomorrow. The under-18 qualifying final, South Launceston taking on St Pat's. It should be a good game, 8:55. This will be a beauty. The women's second semi-final at 10:50. This is Division 1, remembering, but Bridgenorth and Old Scotch played in the Premier Division last year, and Bridgenorth are the reigning premiers. Should be a beauty. They were separated by just percentage. They are 1-1 for the home and away season. So looking forward to that, the women's second semi-final at Rochalee. The reserves for the men at 12:25. Rochalee are taking on the Bridgenorth Parrots. And then the senior game at 2:30. It is the second semi-final between Rochalee and Lilydale. Really good story. Rochalee finished the year undefeated, 4 wins clear of Bracknell. But the Redlegs actually went down in a thriller by 3 points to Lilydale last week. Now, the Demons obviously now facing the City Tigers. But last year, obviously we've had the restructure of NTFA football, but Lilydale played in Division 1 and Rochalee were in the Premier Division, and now they're actually facing off together. So it's a really good story. Lilydale have got a very experienced side. They've had a lot of success in recent years, over many years, and they've got a big bonus, of course, in former Melbourne AFL player and Lilydale boy Jay Lockhart lining up for them. So should be a really good afternoon up at Rochalee tomorrow if you want to head out there and catch some great NTFA action. On Sunday, Division 1 finals continue. This time they'll be at Lilydale, and it's the under-18 elimination final at 9:30. Longford Old Scotch in the reserves. Georgetown take on St Pat's, and then the senior first semi-final knockout game. Bracknell are taking on Hillwood, 2 Premier Division clubs from last year. Again, this should be a very, very tight tussle. Bracknell going down at home, as we mentioned earlier, to Lilydale by just 3 points last week in the qualifying final. So great to see footy in the NTFA at Rochalee, Lilydale, Evandale and Perth, spreading it out amongst the communities, which is fantastic. The Darwin Football Association down the Northwest Coast, prelim final coming up tomorrow at the Wivenhoe Showgrounds. Queenstown, they are travelling up to take on South Burnie in the reserves at 12 o'clock. And then the senior preliminary final at 2 p.m. Ridgely are taking on South Burnie. The winner will face Queenstown in the grand final next Saturday. Queenstown advancing to the last day of the season in Darwin after beating South Burnie by 50 points in the second semi. Ridgely come into the prelim after a 32-point win over Somerset last week in the first semi-final. And finally, on finals, we're going to go to the SFL down south, the Community League. It is week 2 of finals in that competition. The senior men, well, they are playing tomorrow, 1 o'clock, qualifying final at Cygnet. Cygnet are taking on Huonville. Cygnet finishing the season undefeated. And in the senior men's semi-final, that's at Shark Park at 2 o'clock. Dodgers Ferry take on Lindisfarne. In the reserves at Cygnet, it'll be Huonville taking on Cygnet, the qualifying final at 11 a.m. And at 10:15, Sorrel played Dodgers Ferry out at Shark Park in the Resi's semi-final. And then the under-18s, 9 a.m., qualifying final tomorrow at Cygnet, Huonville and the Southern Storm. Whilst the under-18 boys, well, they're in action as we go to air. It is the elimination final down at Pembroke Park. Sorrel are currently taking on Hobart. And then senior women, we'll show you the details of that competition now coming up because there are 2 games to be played at 12:15, the qualifying final at Shark Park, Claremont taking on Hutchins. And then at 3:30 at the Cygnet Oval, New Norfolk are taking on Cygnet. And that is tomorrow in the SFL Community League. Now, we want to finish the show with a great news story. Martin Kenny, he's nicknamed Kmart, so you could probably work that out with the fact that his name is Martin and the big K, and they nickname him Kmart. Well, tomorrow he is playing his 550th game. There he is, 550th game for his club, the Deloraine Football Club. He started playing in the early 1980s. Get this, he made his debut in the seniors for Deloraine 39 years ago in 1986. That's right, 1986. And in 2004, he became the club's games record holder. So 21 years later, he's playing his 550th club game. It's going to take some beating. In fact, chatting to him a little earlier, he has his son's actually up around 300 games for the Deloraine Football Club. He started at Elizabethtown. For those that have been around for a while, the Elizabethtown Football Club obviously are no more, but their ground used to be just at the turnoff where you go from to Sheffield and Lake Barrington. That was their ground back in the day. But applause to you, Martin Kenny. It's a great story, and you'll be playing tomorrow in the reserves. If you're out Deloraine way, head out there for the reserves game, 10:40 a.m. Deloraine looking for their first win of the season in the Rezzies. They're up against Scottsdale. It is the final game of the season for both of those sides, so I'm sure there'll be a huge crowd out at Deloraine. Anyway, great story. That is it for this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure you get out and support all the local community football happening. Plenty of finals actions, final rounds in the Premier Leagues. We'll have a lot more heading into the finals of those competitions next week. Hope you can join us then. Goodbye.